Before we start on this, I would like to make a couple comments. I was one of them that wanted this resolution put on here, but after doing some checking and talking with different people, I think we're putting the cart before the horse by doing this, and I feel that we're not letting the committee do what we asked for them to do. They weren't given any direction as to what they should do, so they had no idea that they couldn't consider the school. I think once they start looking at it and realize what we found out, and I did bring my notes from the task force committee about all the costs and how much they really were. But I think once they figure out how much it was gonna cost, that may not be an option, but I don't think we can tell them absolutely no, you can't do it. Because there might.
Are you on the committee?
No, sir.
Okay.
But there might be a way that we can utilize a portion of it or the property, and I don't wanna make, first of all, I don't wanna make our volunteers mad. Because they're volunteering their time, and they're spending a lot of time with this, late hours at night. So let's give them the authority to do what they need to do. Second of all, I don't wanna upset the school, so that in the future, we can't use the property for what we wanna use it. So my suggestion on this would be that we take a step back, not take any action on this, motion or resolution, and that the people that were on the task force for the school, which would be Benita and I, go to the committee, explain what we've already found out, and see where we can go from them. The city council has the final say, regardless. If they bring it to us and it's not gonna be feasible, we can still vote them down. So, that would be my suggestion.
So what your suggestion is to take no action?
Yes.
And I would like to add to that, I've talked to a few of the people that are on that committee, and I know of some hurt feelings, some anger, some being upset, because I think I don't know if they feel like they've been thrown under the bus or what, but that we gave them a task, and then now all of a sudden we're slamming a door in their face and saying you can't do this. And they're not even prepared yet to give us a presentation, so I think we're a little premature in even bringing this up at this point. I think we should allow them to do their work and wait till they give us their presentation and then deal with it at that time. Once we do the aquatic center, it's gonna end up, we have the first choice as to what we're gonna end up doing, because I'm sure it's gonna have to go to a bond issue or something, and this board will have an option at that point to be making some decisions and voting on it. We don't need to do it now, but the ultimate thing is that if the decisions they make, what they present, the community does not want, they will let us know that in the vote. But I really feel very bad about how we've treated our committee of citizens who have been working so hard on this project. And it bothers me to the point that I think, in the future, if we want committees to do things or people in the city to be involved in our government and help us with things, we're gonna start burning them out and deciding they're not gonna wanna do it. And I think we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with this tonight. So I am in total agreement with Arletta that I really don't think we wanna do anything with this tonight. I think we should let this go and let them do their work.
And I agree with Arletta as well. She actually took away all my power of my words.
Most of mine do.
Disappointed.
They're getting away from you, John.
No, I think I have received several phone calls and stop-by conversations, et cetera, along those same lines with respect to let's not withhold anything from that particular committee. Let them get their job done, the thing that they volunteered to do for us and for the city. So I would say I agree that we ought to table this resolution or just not consider it at all.
I would agree with what the three people have said. I think it's putting the cart before the horse.
Okay, I suggest you task force members do get together with the committee, show the numbers, and as you know, we talked before, we stopped at a certain amount before,
Yeah.
and keep those, and let them know what we did and what we didn't do, and so I think that'd be okay. Is that all right with everybody?
Yes, we both agree with that, and I've already talked to one of them tonight to find out when their next meeting is.
Bob, will you let us know?
Yes,
What a good time.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
So are you gonna, the mayor, are you gonna No, I'd like to read my resolution too.
Right, that's what I was wondering, that, not to interrupt you as council, but I wanna make sure you weren't moving on.
That's okay.
No.
All right.
Go ahead, Dick.
I think Arletta must have slipped in here during the dark or something. I asked that this be put on the agenda. And this is my 13th year on the council. And I have seen this almost every year of the 13 after we approved the support for the new school. That night, I asked the first and probably only question, and that was, what are we gonna do with the building we've got? Their answer was that, what year was that, 7 or, huh? I don't know. Their answer was demolish it. That was the consideration given by the group. And believe me, there were lots and lots of people on that committee who wanted a new high school. So when John and I got, or Carl and I got done with the first City Hall agenda, they asked us, some of them are here tonight, they asked us, would you guys put off voting on the City Hall until we get done with the school vote? We said yes. You go ahead and have your school vote. We don't want to muddy it up with a city vote. We have had meetings, and I appreciate the sympathy you've extended to the people doing the work, but I can look around in this room, there's gobs of people that have put in work. And if we hurt everybody's feelings in this community, we would have 6,000 stops and starts. The last group that came to my house, they seem to come all the time on this issue. There's nobody I'm fonder of in the whole world. I've known her since she could walk. And she did a beautiful job, by the way, with her presentation. And it was done, by the way. They had pictures of 3 different swimming pools and so on and so forth. And tearing off the south end of the building. We said months ago, years ago, we didn't want that building. It's been said over and over and over. And the last presentation I got, as I said, you talk about fond, you know, this is about like my own daughter. And she had an excellent presentation. And I said, where does this go? Her name will be nameless, but I said, where does this go? She said, we're gonna make a bathhouse out of it. I said, you're gonna make a bathhouse after all these years? And they said, yes, we wanna remodel the bathrooms, the locker rooms and so on and so forth, and make this into a large bathhouse. And then the gentleman who, in the minutes of this task force, the gentleman from, what's the aqua company?
Burbach.
Yeah. He took a tour of the building and showed them where the city council could be, where the police could be. In other words, he remodeled the whole building while he was there. This is after 13 years of listening to people do things. We end up with a guy that sells swimming pools, giving our folks long suffering, I would say. How many, I don't know, but to do this, you know, because this would make a damn good swimming pool, you know. And I teased her, and I said, I think there's 4 votes. Now there isn't anymore. So we're going to consider it a few more years. And anybody that has any idea, if you've read the law on vacant school buildings and what you can and can't do with vacant school buildings, you can consider any use of it. You can consider, but as Arletta said, we still have the final say, but I'm worn out with this topic. And it ends up with a swimming pool salesman giving him a tour of where he thinks we should have the city. That aggravates me. You know, there's a lot of basketball officials used to aggravate me too, but not this bad. And I think it's a silly use of money. The man who was in charge of, I'm sure he wouldn't mind if I said it, the man who was in charge of the school maintenance and grounds and so on and so forth. Am I all right on that, Carl?
Yeah.
He said, put away $1 million just for starters. And now we're talking about remodeling it, destroying part of it, and all because we're sympathetic with people. Hell, I'm a softie. And where the person that they sent to me, they couldn't have picked a better one. You know, I almost adopted her before she left. But, and the last one that they had on the new school was excellent. Young Donnelly, I thought was just outstanding with his work. And this lady had 3 different swimming pools, had the whole thing matched out. Now, I don't know, you can't trust a dentist really, you never know what they're saying. But, he didn't have that stuff with him, but it's done. It's there. And there was 3 pools and a missing chunk of city and a guy from Wisconsin who sells swimming pools